Hey, here it is. It's just morning time. Morning, 8 o'clock here, so I don't know, a couple degrees outside. It's just about to kick into high idle here. I just fired it up a second ago. The choke works. Here's the quarters. The paint sucks, right? But here's the quarters. The lowers I just welded in. I just made something out of flat metal and folded it on the brake and welded it in. The gas door, a little bit of bubbling in the corners. Yeah, the wheel lip's pretty good. The rockers are solid. Front corner of the doors got rot, but I don't know why. I don't know why it went so bad there, but it did. The bottoms of the doors are pretty good. There's no holes in the bottoms. The corners are good inside. It does have the bubbling around the rear window like I talked about. A little bit there, a little bit there. Doesn't seem to leak yet, but it is there. This side, it had all this cedar stuff like branches and bits sitting on the car, pine needles. Drip rails are good though. Front window doesn't have any cracks. I did replace this piece. This was rotten on the other one. 65s have this dip here and it catches all the stuff. No reverse lights from the factory. Like I said, trunk lid is bad. You can see it here, but I'll show you in a second here. I'll shut the car up after and show you the inside of the trunk lid. Here's the other side of the back window. It's probably the worst of it here. Looks like somebody tried to Bondo it maybe and fix it, and it just peeled up. This side, drip rails are good. Inside of the door. Windows do roll up and down. Like I said, gas gauge is there. It's intermittent. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Right now it's working. Temp gauge isn't hooked up. Brake pedal. It's got a little tiny bit of wear in the corner, but not a lot. That's what kind of leads me to believe it might actually be a real, well, it says 32,000, but I don't know. Could be 132. The floor, I mean, yeah. The condition of the car definitely looks like 132, but the way it drives down the road leads, you know, it's like, man, this thing's still pretty tight. Sill plates. The seat's all trashed on the corner. The seat under the blanket, it's all trashed on this side. The foam's still in nice shape, but it's a cloth seat, right, with vinyl, so it's split. Passenger side's a little better. Not split on the corners. Passenger door panel. It's a metal dash. Somebody put a radio in it, but it was a radio delete car, which is too bad that they cut that panel, but they did. Heater works great. Defrost works. Here's the headliner. It is in it. Dome light works. It's just the back corner, like the C-pillars there. This one's torn. This one's kind of missing, but it is up mostly. Back seat, that corner for some reason is all weird and gross, but the rest of the back seat's actually pretty nice. Bunch of garbage on the floor for me, sorry. Notice it doesn't have rear armrests. It's a pretty base model. It's got a full horn ring though, which is kind of funny, with a Dodge emblem. Gauge cluster. The speedometer does work and it's accurate. Still got the hood emblem. Once it warms up, it runs really smooth. Anyways, the battery's going to die here in a sec, but I put a dual master in it, new brake line, all new brakes. I know you're worried about power steering. I mean, it does actually, it's really easy to steer. It's not like a really, you know, I've got a 64 Ford over there, 1 ton, it's got manual steering. That thing's horrible, but this is actually really good. Here, I'll shut the car off, and hasn't quite warmed up yet, but I'll show you the trunk here before this battery dies. So like I said, trunk lid's rotten. You can see right here, see the structure, and then look all along the bottom. Hopefully you can get it in the light here. The whole bottom of that ridge is rotten. It's everywhere there's tape, there was a hole rotted through the top. I just put the tape on to try and keep the water out of the trunk. You can see the quarters I welded in there. Somebody else did this white patch here. That's the ground you can see through there. Wheel tubs are pretty good. This part of the trunk's good, but there is a fiberglass mat here. The drip rail itself isn't too bad. It's just up in this corner. It did have a hole, and I welded in something from a 68 Monaco I've got in the backyard, and it just sort of was the same profile, just to keep the water just to run down the corner. You know, but it does have some issues in the bottom. The side of the trunk, just, you know, the drops are gone like usual. It's got some pinholes there. So keep in mind, it is an original Vancouver Island car. They do salt the roads here, and I think this thing was just daily driven through the winters, like everything was, right? And it just, you know, has some rot in the back end where all the salt sprayed up. The guy I got it from said that it was parked in a carport when he got it, and he thinks the back end was sticking out in the rain and the weather. But yeah, it's a neat car. I think it's worth restoring, but it, you know, it's not perfect. But I'm also not asking 20 grand. So there you go. Hopefully that helps. And yeah.